Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help and welcome back to another video today. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the first time I ever got a 99 when I was only 9 years old. So when I first started Runescape, I didn't realize there was a level cap on certain skills. I thought you could train them to, say, level 1000. It didn't really matter, right? And then eventually I heard from people in my school at the time that level 99 was where you achieved the mastery status, and it was pretty much the end of the skill. I later was just walking around the world, and I saw somebody at Barbarian Village fishing, and they had a 99 fletching cape, untrimmed I believe, and I was just like, what is that item? And I saw them with the fletching cape and the hood on, and they had that long beard, you know what I'm saying, and they were just sitting barbarian fishing, and I'm like, that is the coolest item that I've ever seen in the game. One, it just looked like such a prestigious item, you know what I mean? Like, it just had this cape that was connected to the helmet, and it had a hood, and it matched perfectly, right? And it was just this random player fishing, but he had a fletching cape on, right? And I looked at the back of the cape, I walked around, looked at the back of the cape, and I realized that it had the fletching icon. So then I went back to school the next day and was talking a lot about 99 capes and what it actually took to get a level 99. Keep in mind, back then I was probably combat level 30. I had maybe my highest skill ever was 50, and I was like, hey guys, I want to get a 99, and they all kind of just laughed. There was one guy at my school who had a 99, and it was 99 cooking. And he was kind of the one who kind of showed everyone how to kind of play RuneScape, right? If anyone had a question, and I mean anyone, like everyone from my grade back in grade 8 went up to this guy and said, how do I do this on RuneScape? How do I get this? How do I get that? And he would seem to just know all of the answers. Back then, he was probably one of my best friends, right? I would talk to him pretty much all the time, hang out with him after school, play RuneScape together, talk to him on whatever it was back then, Skype. And yeah, I just really started focusing on which 99 I wanted to get. Now, he told me that getting a 99 was something that would take a very long time, and you would probably quit the game before you ever got one. Now, to me, it seemed kind of crazy, right? Because I was able to achieve, say, level 50 attack. And by then, to me, it just seemed like, you know, I could easily get 99. I'm already halfway there, right? But I didn't realize the massive task at hand. Level 92 in RuneScape is the equivalent of getting halfway to a 99. So I was a long way off of achieving my goal. Ever since I saw that fletching cape, that was my goal. I wanted something equivalent to that, right? So I said to my friend, I want to get 99 cooking just like you have, and I'm going to do everything I can in order to do so. You got to remember though, back then I was 8 or 9 years old, so I really didn't know too much. So I went to Google for answers, how to train cooking. A couple videos obviously popped up, some guides on the internet and some Zybez forum pages or whatever it was back then, right? And it turned out that I needed these things called the cooking gauntlets. Back then, there weren't too many quest guides on the internet, but I found this girl actually called Going Crazy 321 or something like that, and she made these amazing quest guides. I really didn't like questing when I was a kid. It kind of felt like this meaningless task to get nothing, and I really wish I could sit back and talk to my 9-year-old self and tell him how much fun and how important quests were. But anyways, I followed this guide, got all the requirements, whatever it was. Looking at it now, it was actually some hefty requirements for a 9-year-old kid. 40 mining, 40 smithing, the huge one, 59 magic, and 40 crafting, and also the ability to defeat a level 170 demon. That must have been scary when I was a kid. But whatever it took, I went and completed that quest and eventually got the cooking gauntlets. Now, basically what these cooking gauntlets did is they made you burn food less so that I would cook more of the time, get more experience, and therefore gain more cooking experience to get my 99 quicker. So with my cooking gauntlets equipped, I set to train cooking. And the thing is, right, I didn't realize back then, it wasn't like today where you kind of made a lot of money from cooking. You lost a lot of money back in the day from cooking. So say, for example, I'll just throw random numbers out here. Say I was cooking swordfish back in the day. Say they traded at 200 GP for a raw swordfish. Maybe they sold for 100 GP for the cooked variant back then. So I was losing money by the minute. So I started looking on ways of making money, and I did all the traditional ways of making money, like picking snape grass, killing hill giants for limpwort roots. I did everything possible. I finally, one day, when I was just sitting at my dad's house on my laptop, found this method where I could make unfinished, I think it was Renar potions back then, back in 2009, 2010, something like that. And you made, I think it was like 500 or 600 GP per potion. And I was like, I hit the gold mine. Now, this is a weird method because I didn't gain any experience really. You know, I just was making these unfinished potions, selling them back, and making a killing. I literally remember going up to my dad when I was about 9 and being like, I found a way I can make millions and millions of gold, and I just have to do this and this. And I was showing it to him, and he was like, what does this even mean, right? But I was like, I'm making money. Eventually, after a couple of weeks of doing this, along with collecting snape grass and limpwort roots, I had, you know, about 5 to 10 million GP. By then, I could afford, say, monkfish, tuna, swordfish, whatever it was, the raw variant, and start cooking away. I cooked for months and months, and it was just like, back then when you're a kid, you cook for an hour, and then you go chill with your friends, hang out, go to PvP, and you do whatever you do. So I wasn't being efficient at all, right? I would just be, you know, on my spare time, cooking a little bit. Over the summer, I really took cooking a little bit more serious and started putting in some, you know, 2 to 3 hour days of cooking. And back when you're 9 years old, spending like 3 hours cooking seems like the longest time ever. It didn't really click to me how time passes until one of my college professors told me that basically when you're 1 year old, that's 100% of your life. So say you're 10 years old, that 1 year is only 10% of your life, and the older you get, time passes quicker. But anyways, it was getting to the last stretch of it, and school started back again. I think it was September or October, and I had about 96 or 97 cooking. I can't really remember the actual level, but it was one of those weekends where I went to my dad's for the weekend, and I even said to him, I'm getting a 99 this weekend. I don't really think he knew what I meant. Now, it would be like a tradition where I'd wake up, say, Saturday with my dad, and we'd go out all day, and we wouldn't come home till later. So when I woke up the Saturday morning, I said, I'm going to be staying home all day today. And he didn't really like the idea of that because he's like an adventurous guy and likes to go out all of the time. But I said, yeah, I'm just going to stick it in today and play Runescape all day. And he probably thought I'd get bored after a couple of hours, but I was set in stone that I was going to be getting 99 cooking this weekend. I vividly remember like building kind of like a fort in a way. Like I don't even know what I attached them with, but I got a bunch of blankets around this corner of the room, kind of made like a little man cave for myself, plugged my laptop in, and I was just there all day talking to my friends. I think it was on Skype, like I said at the time, just literally for like 15 hours that day. And I was cooking, you know, swordfish, tuna, a little bit of monkfish, and like I said, back then you'd go to the Grand Exchange and try and sell them, and you'd be losing half of the money. I was getting to the final stretch at this point, and my friend, thank God, let me, like, I think it was 2,000 to 3,000 raw sharks, and I've never cooked sharks before, right? And this XP just started to fly. I remember my dad saying, okay, time for dinner at like 6 or 7 p.m. And I'm like, no, I can't eat right now. I gotta cook. And he was like, I just spent an hour cooking for you, and you want to cook on a virtual game? And I'm like, yes, I need to achieve this. And I didn't even eat that night. The final few minutes were coming up, right? And back then, I think my character name was called 99 Pwn or 99 Own or something stupid like that. You know, all these usernames you make as a kid. And the final few minutes were coming up for me to get my first 99. And it finally happened. I achieved 99 cooking in RuneScape. And it was just this weird feeling, right? Because I could still cook. It really didn't change anything. But the second I got that 99, you know exactly where I was headed. I went to Varrock, walked into the cooking guild. I forgot to bring a chef's hat, so I literally had to go to the Grand Exchange, buy a chef's hat, and come back and walk into the cooking guild and buy my first 99 cape. At this point, I was literally broke. I was in the negative, right? I owed my friend 3,000 raw sharks because, like, you know, I had nothing left. I was just spending money, getting a little bit of cooking XP, buying, say, 1,000 fish, getting cooking XP, buying 500 fish, getting a little cooking XP. My friend really saved the day with those 3,000 sharks, and now I owed him money, but he actually never made me pay him back. I got to keep those 3,000 raw sharks, and maybe I cooked, say, 2,500 of them, burnt the rest, and I was able to sell those and be able to afford the 99 cape. Without that donation from my friend, and I wouldn't have been able to afford the cape, man. I would have had to go back to picking snake grass. But the time has come, and I walk up to the chef, buy the cape, and I have a 99 cape in RuneScape. I remember just doing the emote like 150 times. I just thought I was like the coolest person in the world. I was 9 years old. I had a 99 cape in RuneScape, right? I was just walking around the Grand Exchange, just doing the stupid cooking emote for literally hours. Even after all the hype died down and, you know, my friends weren't online anymore, I logged in the next day and I was just still sitting there doing the emote and just admiring the cape. Now the next question was, what do I do next? You got to keep in mind, it was a really weird account build that I first ever made. I was like combat 40 or 50 when I achieved my first level 99, right? So I was like, I'm gonna start combat or do something crazy like that. I remember for a while kind of being like lost on what to do with RuneScape. I would just literally log in, do the cooking emote like 10-15 times, admire the cape, and you gotta remember back in 2009, people with an untrimmed cooking cape, like you'd walk up to people and they'd still be like, nice cape, bro, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like it is today, right? You could have a max cape and nobody really cares, right? So back then it kind of felt like almost like a celebrity status, and especially being a 9-year-old kid, it really felt good. And I was the second person in all of my school to ever achieve a 99. It was almost like an addiction from then, right? Because I trained a little bit of combat and I didn't find combat too interesting, right? Back then I didn't really care about combat. I wasn't really involved with prayers, or there weren't too many bosses in the game, right? So I just preferred skilling back then, especially being 9 years old. I didn't want to die. I didn't want to go back to Lumbridge. So I just fell in love with skilling. So I started to train other skills like fletching. You know, I thought maybe I can get that cape that I once saw a guy wearing fishing at Barbarian Village. You know what I mean? So I just started doing a bunch of other skills, and I set myself the goals to get 99 fletching and 99 woodcutting. You got to remember, man, I was 9 years old at the time, and I didn't know what was to come. But yeah, that was my first experience with getting a 99 on RuneScape, and it's one of those weird memories, right? Because you know, getting a 99 on an account, your first one, is always very exciting. But once you've got a 99 a few times in your life, you know what I mean? I've got 99 cooking on 5, 6, 7 accounts now. It doesn't really matter, right? And even like when I was maxing my Ironman account back in 2023, so really not too long ago, and I was getting 99 agility, 99 this and 99 that, it was like, yeah, this is exciting, but it was never the same as getting your first 99. You didn't care about the emote, you didn't care about the status, and maybe it doesn't mean as much as it used to, but yeah, you had to be back in 2009 to really appreciate that. And maybe it was the fact that I was 9 years old. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching the video today. I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya later.